I'm Sean Redmond. I'm the creative director of the Phacade Gallery in Bristol. The idea of the Phacade Gallery was to take a building called Hamilton House in Bristol, in an area called Stokescroft, which is full of artist studios, creative businesses, entrepreneurs, social organisations. There's 250 studios in there, and the idea was to it's housed within a really miserable 1970s office building, which was used as a base for a credit card company, and it contributes very little to the street street scene. So the idea was to turn the building inside out almost, to get some of that creativity and amazing energy from within the building and display it on the outside, so that it builds this dialogue between what's happening out on the street and what's happening in the building, and to draw connections between those two things. Start Phacade Gallery. It started initially with a combination of my frustration at the hideousness of the building and how miserable it was. I have to go in and out of the building every day. I have to look at it every day. I'm an architect, and I inevitably have to look at buildings, whether just wherever I am, and it just frustrated me that it was such an inspiring building on the inside, and so little of that was communicated to people in the rest of the city, and lots of people have no idea what's going on inside that building. It's a huge building, there's a bar in the bottom, and lots of people they just go to the bar. So it was a combination of frustration with the quality of that building, and also one of my friends is a street painter. He does large murals as well, and there was a mural on one of the walls outside the building which was looking a bit tired of being there for a couple of years, and it was a discussion with him about the fact that he really wanted to get this wall and paint it up himself. And speaking to other painters, other street painters, they'd also tried to get the wall, and they hadn't managed to put the right pieces in place to be able to do that. They hadn't been able to unlock it, and I could see a way that I could bring together the people who run the building, get their permission, get some sponsorship from local businesses, and a way to a structure to bring in lots of artists to give us ideas of what we could do with this wall. And when those two things came together, that's where it came from really initially. And then the idea is to use that as the starting point for doing lots of other projects on, around, in and over the rest of the building. How did I start setting it up? The first thing I did was just spend a bit of time developing the idea of what I wanted to do with this building, why I wanted to do it, explore in my own mind really the relationships that I wanted to set up between what I was doing on the building and the stuff going out on the street. Stokescroft's an incredibly diverse, vibrant area. There's lots of artist studios, lots of creativity. It's home to the slightly alternative scene in Bristol, and just trying to understand in my own mind how I could help, how I could contribute to that, how we could use the Phacade Gallery to inform that and inspire that and challenge that. And the first thing, so after doing that, then I drew up a manifesto almost of what I wanted the Phacade Gallery to be about. And once I'd spent a bit of time refining that and getting it right, I sent it on to the people. I got in contact with the people who run the building and asked them if they'd be interested in working with me, effectively giving me the outside of the building to start putting on some hopefully inspiring and unusual bits of art. What problems did I face? What we're proposing in my mind doesn't seem that unusual, but there's a network, a chain of command of the people who occupy the building, and they're responsible for managing it day to day, and then behind them is the people who own the building. And so the process of convincing the different levels of management really that what we were proposing was a good idea, that we could do it relatively simply, relatively quickly, relatively cheaply, and it would enhance the building, not cause any damage for them, not cause any problems for them in the long term. Getting over their initial reservations about it really was the biggest problem. Once I showed them the format of how easily we could start getting artwork up there, that seemed to unlock it. The initial piece of work was a painting, so people are quite used to, in Bristol especially, quite used to seeing quite large paintings going up, so they understood that. We're also in discussions with them about kind of more ambitious things for the outside of the building, installing some sculpture, doing some projections on there. Those things are taking a little more time to convince them of how we're going to do that in a way that's safe and not going to cause any problems for them in the long term. What advice would I give to other creatives? It's a good question. I think just give it a try, really. I find myself having lots of ideas of what I could do with my time and projects I could try and get off the ground. And I've spent a lot of time kind of struggling to get things going. Getting this project off the ground, getting the first piece of work up on the wall that we commissioned, getting that completed and seeing the reaction of the people who use the building, the people who use the street. We had quite a lot of press interest in it. Gave me a lot of confidence in the type of ideas that I'm trying to develop, a lot of confidence that I can do it, and it was a relatively simple process overall. I think just if the idea is good enough, give it a try, and if it doesn't work out, learn your lessons from it and put them into the next one. What would I do differently if I knew what I knew now? It's a difficult one because we ran a competition, an open competition to select the artwork that was going on the wall, and when you ask artists to produce a piece of work, they put their heart and soul into it, and it's amazing to see people doing that. It's really inspiring to see people do that. Unfortunately, we only had one wall, we could only commission one piece, and to see the reactions of the people who weren't selected, who got close, I don't know if we'd do it differently, but I think maybe we'd maybe just be a bit more kind of aware that it's not just a piece of art that you're dealing with. You're dealing with an artist, their hopes, their dreams, their ambitions, their emotions, all that they invest in artwork. We learned a lot of lessons about how to deal with artists in that situation, and hopefully next time, we're going to run this competition every 2 years, next time around we'll be a bit more kind of sensitive and aware of that. I'm really motivated with this work. It's a combination of things really. I love seeing great pieces of art. I love the interaction of public art, good public art, not kind of brass statues of entertainers, you know. I like artwork to be challenging. There was a great story when the breakdancing Jesus went up on the wall, and the first day that we unveiled it, there was a bus going past that was a friend of the artist on it, and he said that everyone on the bus was kind of at the windows, what is that, what's gone up, and just the reaction to kind of challenge people's perceptions of what that area is about, to challenge people's perceptions about what street art can be about, to challenge people's perceptions about what that building is about. That's what that Phacade Gallery is about, really, is drawing people's attention to it, getting them to question what they know about that building, get them interested in the building, get them interacting with the building, using the spaces, and pumping that back out to the street scene, to the city. Yeah, just brightening people's day, making them stop and think. Yeah, seeing people reacting to the artwork, it gives me a great buzz. I think, as I said before, if the idea is good enough, if you're excited about it and you can convince other people of the benefits of it, if you can get other people excited about it, just give it a go. Just get out there and try it. It doesn't have to be a big thing. Try it on a small scale, learn your lessons if you can, and also sometimes ideas can kind of run away with themselves and they get too big, so work backwards and see the steps from here to where you want to get to.